that's how backwards this all is. Like I'd never even been to a film festival before, and I've already, made a film. I went to two different pitch sessions, and I was so floored by the work and how much effort has these people have put in. I was sitting there coming from this world that you've created for me to live in as a filmmaker and seeing that, and I was having this like dissociative like, wait, does it have to be this hard? I will say it was extremely eye-opening. It just all seemed so hard.
And that's the people that I talk to every day, is the people running around with expensive ideas trying to get somebody else to pay for them. And that's kind of the whole point of this, is like, put your money where your mouth is, take on the risk yourself. It's still low stakes because you're not blowing somebody else's money, but you get to learn the entire process. You get to see if you're any good at it.
Right.
And if it's good, you monetize it, you leverage it, you use it to create relationships and get indoors. And if it sucks, you delete the hard drive and you try again.
Right. Well, my name is Emily Carver. My background is I'm a mom of three children and a wife, and I spent 20 years being a full-time mom. And after my children started getting older, I sort of moved into my second phase of life and discovered improv and really loved that and wanted to do more with acting. And I wasn't sure how to go about doing that. I worked for about a year and a half doing loads of extra work and stand-in work. And as I was doing that, I realized that as I was on those sets, I wanted to be more professional. So I started looking at acting classes. But what I was finding was that it's really hard to get work when you don't have a reel or, lines in anything. And I was learning. I had so much to learn and I didn't understand the auditioning process. So I kind of felt like I was stuck. And right around that same time is when I found out about this One Grand Film Group. And honestly, it just sort of it didn't make any sense for me at all, but it made so much sense because I didn't see how I was ever going to get my own lines unless I created my own content. And I'd heard other people say that. And even someone saying that, I did not understand what that meant. I mean, it sounded like something untouchable for me. Like, I get what you're saying, but I don't, how will I ever do that? It's just like one of those funny things in life kind of fell in my lap. And I was thankfully so incredibly naive when I met you that I said, I said, sure, sure. I mean, yeah. So it was like, this feels like what I'm supposed to be doing next. Even when I got started going through the sessions with you and being exposed to the few other people who were coming to these Zooms, but again, I don't know if it was just like, I think it was a combination of my naivete and your encouragement that just sort of worked to just keep me
I do
like,
think you're in a better spot than a lot of people, because I think the people that have been in the industry for a long time have a very entrenched way of thinking. And
yeah,
this model doesn't work for that very well, because I have to deconstruct so many beliefs about how long things should take and what budgets should be, that it's so much easier for somebody to like you to come in with really no knowledge
right.
than it is to take somebody who's been in the industry forever back to that point of like, you don't have to have money or time, a grip truck and all of those things. Like, you can make a movie with what you've got. And you jumped right on that. What was it about you or the process that made you just, because not everybody shows up to the calls, not everybody pulls the trigger on their script, and not
Right.
everybody schedules their shoot date, but you did all of it. And now you're in
Right.
post-production. And now you're like, how do I do this again?
First, I felt like you had such a solid dedication with what you were doing and what you were talking about and how you were presenting everything. It just made a lot of sense. And I think maybe because I didn't have all that other way of thinking about filmmaking, I just kept doing what you told us to do. And it was like, okay, AJ says this week we need to do this, and I'm going to do that. And it just like okay, I'm supposed to watch these videos, and I'm watching the videos, and I'm supposed to be watching these films. And I literally just kept like a student, there was a point where I thought, before I met you, I was like, do I need to go to film school? Like how do I keep learning in this environment? I think I had like a hunger for learning. Yeah, I think it was just this motivation. And you made it like you made it all feel very accessible. It all to me made total sense. You're presenting it as high tides raise all ships, be that person, be the tide that's raising other people up. And that was what I was able to do. And I am one of those people who I want things to have meaning. I love the idea of bringing people together and allowing them to have space to experience something that they won't otherwise have the chance to.
It
Yeah.
melts the barriers a little bit that are on a traditional film set. Okay, can't touch that. And if you're this, you don't talk to that
Right.
person. And this,
It's such a fascinating way to have some like hardcore hands-on learning for everyone to see how all of this is done. You can create a set. It's such a cool way to really figure a lot of stuff out together.
who would you recommend this to?
Well, first of all, I would recommend it to anyone who's been burning with a feature idea, that feels like they need to wait. What you can do is you can come here and you're that person that's going to be, just go. Here are the steps you take and just go do it. I think the way that you talked about making it's just everything can feel so hard. And like 10 years down the road, this can happen. But for that person that has a script and they maybe they don't have a script. They have a story idea. That's all you need. I didn't even have a full story idea when I came in here. I think anyone who I feel like there's people who I'm seeing come in the group who have been in the film world way longer than I have. If they have been in the film world this long, they have enough knowledge to do this.
Before you came into the program,
Yeah.
where were you? Like a before and after. Like where were you
Oh,
versus where you are now?
I had zero production experience, like zero. Um, so yeah, and then I mean, where I am now, I have loads of experience for me compared to zero.
Because you wrote, directed, produced, and starred in your film,
Yes,
in your feature film.
yes,
So you
yes,
went from zero production skills to learning basically everything, baptism by fire,
yes,
and you want to do it again.
yes, big time.
I think that's what a lot of people are missing is just that confidence that it can work. Were you nervous at all about the idea of going after an unpaid cast and crew? And what was it like overcoming that?
So yeah, that was definitely one of those spaces where I was just like, okay, well, AJ's saying I just have to call this person and they're
Yeah.
gonna be excited. And that was 100% true. Definitely. And that was another one of those things that I just kept listening to you and trusting you. And I started to get it the more you discussed it. Just to trust that there are people out there that also want to have experience and want something on their resume. I think there was something inside of me that was feeling bad that I couldn't provide compensation for them. And you helped me understand that in a situation like this, because it's where I was coming from, I was creating this to have something to help me level up in what I wanted to do, that there are people that do the different parts of a film that want that experience under their belt. And so when I did finally start asking people, it was no problem.
Isn't that
People,
crazy?
no problem.
Yeah, it becomes so easy. It happened to me on my first film. I went off after the two most talented actors, other than my wife, of course, in our acting class,
Mhm.
thinking like, hey, the worst they can say is no. And it was
Mhm.
just like a resounding yes
Yes.
before anything. Yeah, I'll do it. And then it's
Yeah.
like I want to work with them on everything now. And
Right.
you have that little tribe, you're starting your own little film society that it's like, they're going to be ready for you on the next one. They're already
Yeah.
asking. They're already asking on set of the first one. When are we doing
Right.
this again?
Right. It's true.
We'll check back in once the edit is done. I'm excited about seeing where that's going and the packaging and getting your poster and discovering the name and assembling all the things that, are going to get this thing sold and in festivals and actually do the work of launching your career. I'm really excited for the rest of the journey.
Yeah, thank you. I will say that that is, now in this post production is also another whole learning journey for me. But I can see how, even though it's long and a little feeling not tedious, but just long at times because I'm learning as I'm doing. I can see the benefit of doing it and understanding the whole process.
Yeah,
I'm excited for the next one to maybe take a little less time in post production.
again, once you figure out all the little moving parts and you can kind of plan for different things and prioritize a little bit smarter. And I'm excited to build that stuff into the course too, because I really want people to make their second films this way too. Only let's use the first one to actually go out and raise money so everybody
Yeah.
can be paid, so we can elevate, camera quality and production value and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I'll say this that as far as who is the right person or who's anyone who wants to sign up for this, maybe letting go of some of what you've learned about the industry because I mean the industry is changing so quickly that it is such a wonderful time to just maybe step out a little bit of some of the older ways of creating and seeing what is possible for you because when you've been taught that you have to go up all these I mean you talk about that the ladder and this all the
Yeah.
rungs you climb up that if you can just let that go and trust that there are other ways now because we all have like you said access to cell phones and these cameras that can make amazing films that you can rent and then you have these skills that and this proof of concept that you have the ability and maybe even just coming into the group and knowing if you're not up for doing all of the pieces like I did that there are people who you could collaborate with
Yeah.
so yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean
Of
you've
course.
not be dramatic, you've changed my life, so I mean
I'll
we're
slip you
supposed to be
that $20 bill
drama.
later. No.
Right, exactly. Changed Emily's life.